President Buhari orders the release of $20 million to contain terrorism and extremism in the sub-region. Troops of Operation Turata Kimbango eliminate Boko Haram terrorists in Borno. Plus, correspondent takes a look at the role of traditional rulers in curbing the spread of COVID-19. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Panorama coming to you live from the NTA Enugu Network Center. I am Chinenye Nwoye. Member nations of Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have been challenged to not only prioritize the acquisition of the COVID-19 vaccines for their countries, but also take appropriate measures towards developing their own vaccines so as to build herd immunity against the disease. President Muhammadu Buhari, who threw the challenge in his virtual address to the 58th summit of the ECOWAS leaders, ordered the release of $20 million in fulfillment of Nigeria's pledge to efforts at containing terrorism and violent extremism in the sub-region. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The virtual summit was convened by ECOWAS chairman and president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, to deliberate on the political, economic, social, and other issues affecting the West African sub-region. For President Muhammadu Buhari, whose speech was read by Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyeama, the recent upsurge accompanying the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic is the greatest threat to the health of humanity, hence the need for West African leaders to brace up for the challenges that lie ahead.
We urge the ECOWAS Commission to work through WAHO, the West African Health Organization, to assist member states in acquiring the vaccines and provide facilities to store and distribute the vaccines within the region. It is important for the region to evolve effective measures and avoid total lockdown at this critical time that our economies are gradually recovering from the first wave of the pandemic.
On terrorism and violent extremism that continue to pose serious concerns to the sub-region and individual member states, the President called for urgent implementation of the regional action plan towards addressing the challenges more effectively.
We have already directed the immediate remittance of the sum of $20 million pledged by Nigeria to the pool account of the ECOWAS Action Plan to Fight Terrorism, while the sum of $80 million is to be disbursed for the fight against terrorism in the northeast and banditry in the northwest of Nigeria for the year 2020.
President Buhari also made a strong case for a lean and compact leadership in ECOWAS to not only save costs but also enhance efficiency and performance, insisting that there is no basis for the organization to have 13 commissioners and 10 other statutory appointees, while the African Union, a larger continental body, maintains only 6 commissioners.
However, some countries are not in favor of this. Then each country must sponsor its own statutory appointee. It is time for us to be taking the right and bold decisions to enhance the performance of the organization and effectively serve the citizens of our community to consolidate our prime position as the best sub-regional organization on the African continent.
Meanwhile, in a 50-point communique issued at the end of the summit, the ECOWAS leaders noted the deterioration in macroeconomic convergence situation in 2020 and therefore grant member states a waiver with regard to meeting the criteria in 2021. Consequently, drafts on the new Convergence and Macroeconomic Stability Pact is to be submitted at the next summit for consideration with the 1st of January 2022 as start date, as well as the new roadmap for the ECOWAS single currency program with 2025 as target date for the launch of the ECO. The summit also called on member states that are yet to ratify the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to accelerate the process towards promoting harmonious trade liberalization in the region and maintain the integrity of the ECOWAS Common External Tariff. Meanwhile, the leaders reaffirmed their commitment to the promotion of peace, security, and stability as prerequisites for economic integration and development of the region. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Troops of Operation Tukar Taikan Bango, a subsidiary of Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast, have continued to eradicate elements of Boko Haram Islamic State's West Africa province criminals in the zone. A statement by the Acting Director of Defense Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyuko, indicates that the latest encounter occurred on 20th January 2021 at Abagajiri in Dambal local government area of Borno State, where the troop of 402 Special Task Forces Brigade encircled some Boko Haram criminal enclaves, eliminating 5 terrorists, while others escaped with bullet wounds. Several heavy arms were captured, while an improvised explosive device, IED, making equipment, and the criminals' camp were destroyed. Brigadier General Onyuko notes that the renewed onslaught against the remnants of the terrorists by the troops of Operation Tukar Taikan Bango is commendable and an indication of the end of all criminal elements within the Northeast. The Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, is seeking support from the United Kingdom government in the ongoing fight against terrorism in the Lake Chad region. A statement by the Chief Military Public Information Officer, MNJTF Headquarters, N'Djamena, Chad, Colonel Mohammed Dole, indicates that the Force Commander, MNJTF, Major General Ibrahim Wonu Yusuf, Deputy Defense Advisor at the British High Commission in Nigeria, Lieutenant Colonel Bobby Gillespie, and the representative of the Lake Chad Basin Commission are meeting in N'Djamena, Chad, and Maiduguri, Borno State, to further solicit intervention to enhance the ongoing sub-regional fight against terrorism. Colonel Dole notes that the UK government had supported the MNJTF through the provision of operational vehicles, rough terrain motorcycles, communication equipment, among other items. As part of efforts to curtail the contemporary threats to security in the country, the Nigerian Air Force has trained and graduated 676 officers and men into its force protection. Haruna Mohammed reports.
With the permission of the Air Chief, Commandant Regiment Training Center Kaduna Group Captain Daniel Musa Komo welcomed the graduates into the Red Badges, home of bulwarks. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Bababakar says the Nigerian Air Force will continue to reinvigorate the capacity of personnel in line with the changing security environment and adopt processes to reflect the broad range of security requirements.
We have also expanded the structure of the Air Force so that we have sufficient presence everywhere. And those that are in these new structures are mainly regiment personnel.
The regiment officers are equipped with air and ground knowledge that will enable them respond to contemporary security challenges. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Take a break here. Panorama continues in a moment. Do stay.
The Council of Our Fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
And now to COVID-19 update. The latest release from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, shows that there are 1,633 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. This number, recorded from 20 states under FCT, brings the total number of confirmed cases to 120,602. And the breakdown of the figures, Lagos is leading the chart with 498 cases, followed by Plateau with 214, and the FCT with 176 cases. Rivers has 99 cases, Kaduna 98, Edo 87, Anambra 86, Akwa Ibom 50, Osun 47, Kano and Oyo 40 cases each. Kwara has 39 cases, Ebonyi, Niger and Taraba 28 cases each. Others are Ogun 27, Ondo 21, Ekiti 12, Katsina 7, Borno 6, Delta 2 cases. The total number of cases is 120,602. Number of discharged patients, 95,901, with 1,502 deaths. As the world continues to battle with the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, concerns have been raised about the attitude and non-adherence of some people, especially the rural dwellers, to COVID-19 protocols. James Opare-Kocha spoke with some traditional rulers on their methods of passing their message to their subjects.
It is no longer news that the COVID-19 pandemic has been carried over to the year 2021. And the reality of the second phase has continued to generate concern owing to the attitude of some persons and non-adherence to the COVID-19 protocol. The federal government has been using the mainstream media to inform the general public of all the COVID-19 protocols. But how effective has it been in the sensitization of the rural populace?
We have the town criers that go around everywhere and tell the people.
3 days ago, I held a meeting with the town union of the community. We also alert them about the danger of the second wave of the COVID. So we are doing our best. It's everyday news in our community.
What we did in the first phase, we are going to go to the churches, tell the reverend priest to announce it, and to make sure that everybody coming into the church have a face mask.
It is the opinion of some respondents that government need to create more awareness, especially in the rural communities, so as to inculcate in the people how to conduct themselves in order to avoid the spread of the second phase of the virus. As Nigeria and the rest of the world await the COVID-19 vaccines, the only solution for preservation, experts say, is a continuous adherence to all the COVID-19 safety protocols. Enugu, James Opare-Kocha, NTA.
And that report forms our background for discussion today on Panorama. With me in the studio to speak more on this is the traditional ruler of Ibagwanike community in Enugu State, His Royal Highness Igwe Emmanuel Igwe. Igwe, it's good to have you join us on Panorama.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Igwe, it is a confirmed status that Nigeria is in a second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as custodians of culture and people whose views are highly respected by the people, do you believe that traditional rulers have a major role to play in disseminating information against this disease?
Of course. We are part of the system. We are living with much people, more importantly, the rural dwellers. And you know, in a community where family settings are being respected, social gatherings and so on. So traditional rulers' position is very, very important and imminent to be able to support the NCDC.
Okay. Now, governments at all levels have done a lot in the areas of sensitization against this disease using modern technology. But majority of the people in the rural areas do not have access to some of this health information. So, what are some of the mobilization machinery you have utilized to create awareness of this virus in your community?
Well, in a community setting, we have structures. We have women organizations, we have town union, we have youth organizations, we have the ruling council, we have different organizations and associations in the community, and we know how to get close to ourselves because we are all living together. It's not something, the message cannot be able to pass so easily to others. So in a community like my own community, Babanike, when this pandemic started, we called for a general meeting segmentally, the town union, to be able to executive, to be able to inform their members. We call the youth organizations to inform their members. It's all about health. We're talking about life here. So we are not talking about life of the president. We're not talking about the life of the governor or whoever else. We're talking about our lives. So we have the machineries, the traditional pattern to be able to communicate to the people on how to be able to avoid what is avoidable.
Can you tell us some of these machineries?
Well, like what I said, we use local gang to alert the public about the COVID-19 protocols. We use the churches, the local churches around us, to be able to communicate our people. We also use councils, like what I said, the Council of Chiefs, the district officers, to be able to communicate to various bodies, because we are talking about lives, and that is the machineries we put in place to be able to inform the public, even around us.
Okay, Igwe, there is still this culture of denial of the existence of COVID-19, which has made people to let down their guards, especially during the Eurotide. There were a lot of massive travels, people organized events. So what efforts were made towards strengthening community surveillance for this disease?
Well, there's an extent we can control, because like in the festive period, a lot of people came home. You can't stop them from coming home to their father's land, and it's very difficult. You know, we are not being empowered to test run anyone who is coming to his father's ancestral home. But the only thing I can say is that every one of us, we are all aware that there's COVID, there is such a virus moving around the air. It's invisible. You don't see, you don't know who has it. And in the community where you have a nuclear family and you want to have a wine carrying, or somebody died and you want to bury the person, the only thing we do is just to do our normal protocol work to allow them. This is what the government said, and some people will adhere, some people will believe that no, I cannot even cripple myself in my father's land.
So on this note, what are you advocating that the government do in terms of ensuring enforcement?
Well, I think the government is doing their best in putting so many things in place. There's no place you can go around my community and various other kingdoms that you will not see them placing a bucket of water, sanitizers, and so on. And that is because government in various levels, the local government, the state government, are doing their best to be able to communicate to down the stream for everyone to understand that it's all about your life. So government is doing their best, but in the community, the only support I can say we want from the government to disseminate this information, because people believe that if one does have something that you are eating at home and you need to go and buy just vegetable, and those who are selling the vegetable believe that if you cover your face and you want to sell vegetable, how do you shout to the person who wants to come and buy vegetable? So, but we are trying to do our best to be able to know how we can be able to partner with them to understand that it's only those that live that can be able to take vegetable. But it's an interrelationship which the community and the state is also partnering together to be able to communicate to the people to understand what is going on.
Okay, now on the issue of vaccine, scientists have developed a series of COVID-19 vaccines, and some Nigerians are still afraid to take this vaccine. How would you encourage your subjects at the rural areas so that they will take these vaccines when they actually come?
Well, I'm not the health officer. Until we see the vaccine. But I believe this is the duty of a health officer to. The state, the federal government know what to do when the vaccine arrives. It's not the duty of the traditional ruler to be able to advocate for one to be injected, because it's just a new thing that came on board. It's a new ideology that we thank God that there is headway. But to convince people now needed the health workers to be able to do their work appropriately and adequately to be able to convince the people.
So now, what is the condition of the health facilities in your community in case of emergencies?
Well, the only thing I have in my community is the health center. The health center is not an ICU center where you can rush anybody who is being infected. But NCDC came to my community and did some programs, and 2 months ago, they have not returned back to tell me or inform me if one is infected or not. We don't pray for that. But of course I know that in the state we have some facilities. We are very close, and those who are very far, we have the health facilities, and all the state structures have informed various bodies, various traditional rulers, in case if there is such an emergency, we know where to run to.
Okay, so what's your advice to Nigerians at this time?
Well, my advice is for every one of us to understand that this is a virus that came on board into the world, and this is what we met. We thank God we survived last year, and I know that we will survive this year. But for us to be able to survive this, we have to partner with the federal government, with the state government, to be able to understand that our lives is very, very important. But my advice to the government is to put more measures to be able to help the vulnerable in the community, so that they will be able to understand that for them to believe much in this pandemic is for the government to support them.
Okay. Igwe, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking with Igwe Emmanuel Ugu, the traditional ruler of Ibagwa Nikwe Kingdom in Enugu State. I'm moving on. To intensify rapid response to health emergencies in Enugu State, 8 more ambulances have been added to the existing ones for effective healthcare delivery. The vehicles were handed over to the State Ministry of Health for immediate deployment to the major health facilities in the state. Susan Eze has the details.
The speed of response to medical emergencies is a critical factor in healthcare delivery. In this era of COVID-19 pandemic, the task is made more challenging. However, the Enugu State government is taking steps to ensure effective response to emergencies across the state. To augment the earlier procured ones, the 8 Hitato immobile ambulances of the Enugu State Medical Emergency Response Team, ESMAT, were revamped for emergency operations in the health sector. The Chief of Staff Government House, Festus Ozo, on behalf of the governor, performed the handover, stating that the ambulances would be deployed to the roads and to the major health facilities in the state.
This will help us to continue to sustain the desirable response to the pandemic, emergency, local issues as they arise, rescue operations on our roads, and general healthcare delivery in major health facilities in the state.
This gesture, the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Ikechukwu Obi, said, is life-saving.
We are now here to see the evidence of the strides that were made towards the revamping of the emergency department of the Ministry of Health.
The ambulances were inspected by a delegation of the State Executive Council. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
And sports is next. Gift George is our guide on sports updates.